The month of October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And being a survivor myself, I feel that's my duty to help others on their healing journey in any way I can. I believe it's important that we all educate ourselves about this persistent issue that affects 1 in every 4 women and 1 in every 10 men. According to the National Center of Injury Prevention and Control, women experience about 4.8 million intimate partner-related physical assaults and rapes every year. This is a real pandemic. The lockdown has made this problem even worse. And to also put this into an economic lens, violence loses a total of 8 million days of paid work every year. And this cost exceeds $8.3 billion. My guest today is Deborah Alessi. She's a businesswoman and founder of Face Forward International, a nonprofit organization that helps domestic abuse and sex trafficking survivors. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you so much for having me today.
So, Deborah, I would love to hear the story behind Face Forward.
I feel like Face Forward found me because I didn't intentionally go out to start a nonprofit at that time for domestic violence. But being a survivor myself, I feel unconsciously I chose domestic violence, and then I didn't realize the need because it's kind of hush-hush, nobody really talks about it. And over the years, I realized, wow, this is something I have to really dedicate my time to. And then we opened up the doors to survivors of acts of crime, and the past 5 years, human trafficking, which has grown tremendously around the world, unfortunately. So I feel like being a survivor, this has been part of my healing process. And I think if one woman hears this story, or one man, we're making a difference. We're changing, we're giving that person hope, because if you're domestic violence or human trafficking, you feel there is no hope. How do you get out of something where you're so trapped? And if they see us and they say, well, they did it, then I can do it. The most challenging aspect for me is, I would say, the emotional part, which I've learned to work on over the years. It's very challenging to see someone who is being trafficked and slept with 100 men a day, or someone who's acid survivor. It takes you back, because I'm not a doctor. So my husband's a doctor, I'm not the doctor. So, I get emotionally attached. It's a worldwide issue. It's surprising, some men who witness their father be abusive to their mother grow up to be abusers because they're so angry and they've never handled the situation or dealt with that problem. And it surprises you because they hate their father, but then they become their father. Or a woman is in a relationship with an abuser and her father was an abuser. So I feel like really when that happens to children, it's really important for us, for parents or the mother to get her child into therapy so that cycle doesn't keep repeating itself.
One thing that I would like you to talk about a little bit is the different kinds of abuse, because we have the emotional abuse, the psychological abuse, and then the physical abuse. And when it happened to me, I didn't know that I was being abused until I became physically abused. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, they don't understand that the psychological is just as bad sometimes as the physical.
Mm-hmm. Words are very powerful. And when someone trusts a person, or they think he's a great person or she's a great person, and then it seems to be it's a game. And the moment they feel they have that person in love with them, then the triggers start. The little words, or you're stupid, or you're ugly, or you look fat, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, this Prince Charming was so nice to me. It must be me. Do I look fat? Am I not look? And then when they know they're getting you and they're making you feel insecure, and then it goes 3, 4 months, 5 months, you can see the cycle. And then 6 months into it is when the first slap happens. Sometimes our survivors have just been emotionally abused, and I don't say just, but emotionally abused for 2-3 years. And then when they leave is when they do the acid or break their nose or whatever it may be. So it's very interesting. They knew that they were emotionally, but they didn't think he would ever hurt them. And when they leave, they do. So they can't take the fact that their victim is stronger than them. So there always has to be a strategy and a plan to escape from an abuser.
So what would you say to people that maybe they hear their neighbor fighting, or they know about someone that is being abused and they're just like, oh, I should not stick my nose in that. So I think that can be very tricky.
I wouldn't go to that couple when the abuser is around. I would find a place or a time where he's not there or she is not there, and ask that person, can you help them in any way? Can you let them, a family member, know? Because for all, they may have taken away their phone, they may have taken away, detached them from their family, which is very common. So just to let that tell that one person that I'm here if you need me, it's very delicate steps. Give them the number of a domestic violence hotline. Maybe they don't know about that. Just little things you can do to make a difference. It's very tricky. You can't go in and take this person away because it's almost their mind is so scared and in fear that they believe that if they do leave, they're going to be killed.
And a lot of times they are.
Yes, unfortunately.
What is a good escape plan for someone that is currently living under a very abusive relationship?
Talk to a professional, a domestic violence hotline, find a solution, find a family member. Even if you haven't chatted with that person for a long time, let that person know that that you're being abused and you need an escape plan. You can't just walk out the door and leave, because they will find you, and it usually takes, they usually go back 7 times a survivor to the abuser, because their mind is so attached to this person who's controlled their life.
What can us citizens do about the domestic abuse so then, together we can hopefully eradicate this persistent issue from our society? I
feel that people are ashamed to talk about it, and I was probably one of them. It's like nobody wants to say I was abused, I was beaten. There's a stigma with that, unfortunately, and I think that needs to be removed. People need to be able to feel comfortable. More people need to talk about it. We need more celebs out there talking about it. That unfortunately that's the world we live in today, but when someone is a celebrity and they talk about something, then it gets noticed. And I think the more we have that, the more people will feel comfortable of coming out and talking about it and getting out of a situation.
A final message to a survivor that is recovering, or a person that wants to leave an abusive relationship.
That you can do it. You can be that woman or man that you dream to be. It's in you. Don't let this person control the rest of your life. Find a friend, find help, do whatever you need to do, but do not settle for this. You don't deserve it.